Good morning. Welcome to the Celtic Way Morning Briefing Live. I'm Tony Haggerty at Haggerty10 Twitter handle. You know that by now. It's Friday, March the 31st. Football's back. Club football, get in there. And I'm joined today by Sean Martin at Sean Martin TCW. How you doing, Sean?
Buzzing, Tony, you?
Yes, I'm buzzing.
Just a wee bit.
Indeed. There's a buzz about the place, as they used to say. Hold on, an excuse, Paul McStay impersonation. I'm hoping not to be joined by Barkas today, Ben the dog, but hey, I can't guarantee that. I don't know who will turn up in the garden or whatever, but there you have it. Anyway, I will direct you to the ticker tape running along the bottom. We say thank you to everybody that's already subscribed, but if you haven't subscribed already, why not take a chance and subscribe to the Celtic Way website and support top quality football journalism covering the club you love, and it'll cost you £2 for 2 months for unlimited access to everything that's written on the site. It's all for the click of a button, guys. www.celticway.co.uk/subscribe. That's www.celticway.co.uk/subscribe. And we also say thank you to SENECA, and the Celtic Way Morning Briefing is now sponsored by SENECA Medical Group. And SENECA are the #1 hair transplant company in Europe, and they offer innovative hair restoration treatments. And you can find out more about SENECA via the links in the description of this video. Now, Sean, all roads lead to Dingwall, not the county jail, but Dingwall, home of Ross County FC. Celtic playing on Sunday. And yes, we will find out later today the roll call, who is available and who is not, Sean. The manager will enlighten us on that later on today, won't he?
It's going to be an interesting one because one, we've got our predicted 11s to try and cobble together, but we really can't do it in advance this time. We need to wait and see what he says because there's a good few that there's doubts over by the sounds of it.
Yes.
I've got a suspicion that when it actually comes to Ange Postecoglou being asked about the squad update, there might not be as many ruled out as what has been suggested, but that's just a hunch. That's nothing more than that.
Yes. Now the countdown to the end of the Championship, League Championship, is on, Sean, but it's another vital game for Celtic, and 3 points is a must, isn't it?
It is, aye. It's all from now, basically, just win, and you win the league, basically, isn't it? But aye, it's yet another weekend where Rangers play before Celtic. So it could be 6 points when Celtic go to Dingwall on Sunday. Then again, it could be a chance to extend it as well, Tony. You look on the bright side a wee bit.
Yes, you do. You always try to, don't you? But it just seems like a long time coming, and a long time since we've did this, Sean. You know,
say that every time there's an international break.
The predictions and all that kind of stuff. But it just seemed longer this time coming round, I guess.
Mm-hmm. No, it did. But I think, saying that, it wasn't as long as the World Cup break. But it still felt like that, aye. It did still feel like that, aye. Tam Mack saying 6 wins.
Yeah, indeed.
Can it not be fewer than 6 because they play Rangers? No.
Yeah, well, I think if they beat Rangers, then it might be fewer than 6, wouldn't it? Is that right?
I think so, aye.
Memory serves.
Because I forgot it marked down, but I never marked down whether it was 4, 5, 6, 7, or 8. But I had marked down that the only way I know how to do it, Tony, is to literally write out in different lines week by week what the difference would be and how much would be left and all that. Old school style of doing it. Can't do it in my head. Never have been good at maths.
Now, who are you hoping is back, Sean, or are you just hoping that they're all fit and well?
Every one of them. All of them.
Yeah.
All of them.
Yeah.
I think, without getting into the whole predicted 11, because we'll wait until we hear what he says later, but there is still a few things to consider because the reports have says maybe Hatate struggling. Taylor had a knock before the international break. Moyes had a knock, couldn't go on international break or get sent home. Sorry, Abada and Maida both get sent home early from internationals as well. So don't get me wrong, it sounds, and as I say, I've got the hunch that maybe they'll be more available than what's been what we've been led to believe. But it sounds like Taylor could make it. But see if he doesn't, Bernabe, I think probably fine with that.
Yeah.
Moy has his back problem, but the fact that it might be coupled with Hatate also struggling means I suppose O'Reilly right away gets in. But I suppose the question I want to ask you, Tony, is would it be David Turnbull or would you think Tomoki Iwata might come in? Would you give him a nod?
I might be inclined to give Iwata a nod. I was saying yesterday that Steve McGrory asked the same question yesterday as well, and I was
push McGregor up one then, or
yeah. And I was inclined to think that maybe Iwata could come in just to give him a taste of it and give him his first 90 minutes. I've been quite impressed with Iwata since he came in and what he's done so far. I've got that's no slight on David Turnbull, but I just think the last couple of games that Turnbull has featured, I thought he could have produced more, and I just think it's maybe Iwata's time if neither of those players are available. It's a big. They will both be a big miss, wouldn't they, Moy and Hatate?
Definitely.
But O'Reilly, I don't have any qualms about, and Alan would say love to see Iwata from the start. Steve McGrory was the same. He had Iwata in his starting 11, regardless. I think if both players are fit, because I think he was thinking that maybe not risk him, considering what's round the corner, which is a fair consideration. Give them even more time to recover for Rangers the following week.
Well, I mean, we've got a comment here saying Derek Crawford, is he fully fit? I thought he had a knock also. Well, he missed the Hibs game, but he was in training. He seems as if he's there. Seems as if he's available. It would be a toss-up for me because I think it would almost be extra harsh on David Turnbull if there's a couple of midfielders out that play further forward where he plays and he still is on the bench. That said, I'm intrigued to see what Tomoki Iwata can bring from the start in a league game. And it's a toss-up. I might talk myself into Iwata, Tory, depending on what Postecoglou says. But I think I would err on the side of David Turnbull from the get-go. So it would be McGregor, Turnbull, O'Reilly.
Yeah, exactly.
Barcast joining the conversation.
That's two Barcast now. That's the other one joining in the two of them.
Michael Ross says you had a howler yesterday. It sounds like you've had a couple of howlers a day so far.
Yeah, they've got a couple of howlers. Can you hear that? Is that really bad?
It's not that bad. I can hear it, but I've got my ears are finely tuned to the barks of dogs, as you know. So, get Alan Woods coming back in again saying, Sean, don't call it a presser, please. The press conference later on, Tony.
Press conference, is that what we call it? Alan's not a fan of that word, is he? So there you go.
But Andrew's presser, Tony. I wonder what else he'll say because it's been a while. I would like to think that he'll not be asked about VAR before the game. It might be after the game, but I'm basically just using this as a way to plug your piece on the website, Tony, which I think people might disagree with, but not for the reasons that you might think. You might disagree with the three choices rather than the fact that they were terrible decisions. Yeah. But you did basically three most controversial or three biggest or three worst, whatever way you want to put it. VAR decisions involving Celtic was a newsletter last night, so on the site today.
Yeah, but we had a kind of we spoke about it between the three of us, didn't we? Myself, yourself, and Aidan, and the consensus was the three that were picked in the article, wasn't it? But there were.
Yeah, that's what we ended up coming to. I think I'm trying to look up there it is, right? So it ended up the exact three that you picked, but I picked Jota versus Motherwell, the Connor Goldson handball, and then the Abada v Livingston one. Yes. Just because it was such a weird subjective interpretation. You know that Aidan picked the Michael Smith handball, the Jota at Fir Park, and then he picked the Matt O'Reilly handball as well. But ultimately, just as a spoiler alert, I suppose the three that it ended up was the three that you picked, which was the Michael Smith handball, the Jota absolute farce at Fir Park, and then the Connor Goldson handball.
Yeah. But honourable mentions as well, because we spoke at length about Alexandro Bernabe's handball and Matt O'Reilly's handball. Yeah, we just felt that. Well, I don't know. We had the discussion. So, but
basically, there's a word count in the newsletter section as well. It had to be 3 rather than 4 or 5.
Yeah, had it been 5, they would have been included. Let's put it that way. Yeah, so it's all very subjective, but you'll have your own thoughts on what's the worst decision, but. That's on the website today if you want to have a read at that. And as you say, people might disagree, but not for the reasons that you're saying. But I think there've been quite a lot of them. I think we came to the conclusion, didn't we?
Yes.
A lot of our decisions.
Despite what maybe former Sky hosts might be suggesting lately. But, David Ferguson, going back to your Iwata point, Tony, saying the more he sees Iwata, he's convinced he can play anywhere in the midfield. So he expects maybe if he does play that Callum McGregor would still be in his usual position. Do you see that maybe?
Possibly, yeah, but I just think I'm thinking that he's more of a holding midfielder, isn't he? And McGregor further forward. I quite like what he's brought so far. So, and I think that's his more natural position, isn't it? That kind of holding anchor role. So yeah, but I've no qualms about that. If Ange Postecoglou wants to do that, you know. So the manager knows best, didn't he? He signed the Japanese J League Player of the Year, so he's got thoughts for him and what he's going to do and what's going to happen with him moving forward. I would conjecture.
Alan Woods coming back, and another phrase he hates is game time, Tony.
Game time. Alan's.
Probably, I hazard a guess that he'll probably hate the actual term for J League Player of the Year, which is MVP. MVP.
The manager uses the word game time, doesn't he? He talks about players playing either 60 minutes or 30 minutes, but they'll get game time. So
it's just personal preference, I suppose.
Yeah, or minutes on the park, that kind of thing. Yeah, minutes on the park. Yeah. Charlie Duran says Iwata was J League Player of the Year, wasn't he? Expecting big things. He was indeed. I think the manager's expecting big things. The supporters are expecting big things because it comes with that pedigree, Sean.
It does, and not to go back and forward between topics here, but there are a few comments about the VAR stuff. Christopher Mullen says the Bernabeu handball was the worst in his opinion because he was facing away from the ball and his hand was behind his head. I remember that one, and that was nearly there for me as well because it obviously did hit his hand, but it was a way that it was adjudged to have been unnatural for the body position it was in, even though the body position he was in was going for a header. Like it was, I don't know. I don't disagree.
I just think that every time, from the moment the Michael Smith handball going against Celtic, the first time VAR was introduced, you thought, well, you'll not see a worse decision than that.
Hold my whistle when I'm
scale has got, worse every other week. So yeah, Jota.
Josh Townsley says, "Morning guys. For him, it was a Jota offside versus Motherwell," and I think. For me, that is the most farcical one. It's not necessarily the worst actual decision because it very well might have been offside. It was everything that came after it.
Yeah.
Not going with the on. The thing is, to me, and it still comes across like this, they could have just said, right, we've had a failure of technology. We're going with the on-field decision because the assistant flagged. That's all they had to say. But instead, it was this. It was like, it wasn't working, and then it was on, but it was facing the dugout. And then the statement, which was a non-statement, and as we said in the newsletter, it ended up as clear as mud. So I think that's the most farcical one, even if it wasn't the most kind of clear-cut wrong kind of thing.
It was a flip-flopping of the narratives on that one, Sean.
Of course,
and as the Celtic supporter, I think.
Exactly, and as we said numerous times before it came in, that not only the part-time officials thing, which I still disagree with, and I think it was putting the cart before the horse, but just in terms of you should know what landscape you're operating in. There is very little, if any, trust there in officialdom in Scottish football, and that's not just from Celtic fans, although Celtic fans have got more reason than most. But it's almost like they've not tried to build that trust either, which I think is arguably worse.
Yeah.
And I think it was exemplified with the Jota incident. So, again, not to turn this into a VAR chat before there's been even a game of football again, but that's why we used it as a newsletter, because the return of football, let's not celebrate. Can't say celebrate, can we? Because we don't want to celebrate it, but let's get ahead of the curve with reminding people what VAR's been up to before.
It's a good talk. Let's put it that way, and everybody has an opinion on it. Matt O'Reilly and Barnaby's were the worst. Says Derek Crawford. Had we had the top five, Derek, they would have been 4 and 5. So there you go. Yep. Peak Week G, really like what I've seen of Iwata so far. He may well be a holding midfield player, but he's very mobile, a bit like Cal Mackey, for truth be told. Yeah, can see that in both of them.
And to be honest, Derek Crawford, and he's right, I take it it's me that he's talking about, but we say all the time that the build-up is slower when McGregor's not at the 6, and that is the worry. But the thing I suppose I would say is that without Iwata having serious game time there, you don't know if he'll be able to match the type of speed. There's very few players, I would argue, in world football that can match Callum McGregor for that speed in that situation. Yeah. But you've got to give him a chance, and he's been brought in for a reason. I suspect maybe it'll be both of them when it comes to next season in Europe. And then therefore you're not losing that speed of thought from McGregor and that speed of play. But fundamentally, I agree with what Derek's saying, and he's right. I do say it all the time that it is slower when it's anybody but McGregor in that role.
You said the word serious game time. Alan Woods will be.
Oh, he'll not be happy.
His keyboard right now.
I'm sure Ange says that in his pressers all the time, though. So.
Yeah, serious minutes on the park, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, indeed. Now, Sean, Ross County, Dingwall. You've been looking at the stats as you always do. Celtic's record in Dingwall, pretty decent, isn't it?
It is actually, and I know. First of all, right, I'm going to say County in general are not doing well, right? They're not doing well. You know what I think when I'm saying about teams that aren't doing well, playing Celtic's the last thing you want to be doing, even if it's at home. But they've only won twice in early November, and the two teams that they did beat were Killie and Dundee United, who are the two teams that are next to them in the relegation fight. So they're not really they've not proved able to beat a team of higher quality for a fair while. And to be honest, this run that I'm talking about was actually a 2-1 loss to Celtic that kick-started that poor run. But I'm saying that, and weirdly, Tony, at Dingwall, their record's actually been decent lately because they've won 2 and drawn 1 of their last 5 in Dingwall, which is actually not bad form considering where they are on the table and different things like that. But Celtic's record, you're right to say, is good. Luckily, I still had it from the last time that they went to Dingwall. I still had it sitting in my notes. It's now 13 wins, 3 losses and 3 draws in all competitions there since 2011. Which I suppose you could say, right, well, that's 6 games where they've not won, which for Celtic is actually quite a few, but it's still it's an overwhelmingly positive one.
Yeah.
Since Ange Postecoglou took over, there's been 7 meetings between them, not in Dingwall, obviously, just in general, and they've won all 7, but they've only kept 3 clean sheets and none in the past 3, Tony. So I don't know if you put any stock in that, or if it's simply as it says on the form guide, basically Celtic, imperious, best team in the league, averaging over 3 goals a game, and Ross County, an inability to beat anybody that's not mired in a relegation fight since the start of November, and all right, doing no bad at home lately, but ultimately have proved incapable of beating Celtic lately since Ange Postecoglou took over as well.
Yeah, I mean, you know my thoughts on clean sheets and Joe Hart conceding goals. I don't particularly like it, but as long as Celtic are scoring 3, then if you're Celtic are scoring 3, you're not beating Ange Postecoglou's Celtic team. If Celtic are scoring 3 goals a game, are you? You're not beating them. So you can score 1, but you ain't scoring 3 or 4. And Celtic are averaging that, as you say. So you're going to have to go some to beat Celtic. I just don't see Ross County eking out a 1-0 win against Celtic. Do you?
I can't see Celtic not scoring.
No, unless Celtic are one of those days where it doesn't go in or whatever, you know. But you keep waiting for that to happen, and it hasn't happened, has it?
It hasn't, no. And I'm going to put up Alan Woods coming back in. I think he thinks he's annoying us, Tony, but he's went one step too far here, I think. He says, hopefully, Iwata, the MVP, will get some game time if Ange says he's ready to play ball at the presser today. And this is where he falls off the radar. He says, and maybe start at Parker's next week. And there's maybe another faux pas later on there, but we'll not mention that. We'll let the crowd call him out on that one. But we've got an early score prediction, 3-0 win. Scott McGill says, I'm not willing to say it yet, Tony. I'm waiting till the end, as we always do, but that's an early one.
Yeah, okay. Well, Scott McGill's very confident. That's the average goal tally that you were mentioning there, 3 goals a game.
Yep.
I can't see anyone eking out a 1-0 win against us, in my opinion. No, neither can I, Dave. That's the point I was making, that Ross County scored 1. Celtic will inevitably score 3 or 4. They do it against most teams. And I just find it hard for teams to, even if they do break Celtic down, for Celtic not to create chances. It happened once this season against St Mirren. Celtic seem to have learned from that, because it's not happened again, has it?
No. Got a few people asking who scored the Ross County goals. It was last one was a penalty, remember? David Kincola. But before that, it was Alex Iacovitti scored 2. Remember, 2 scored.
Yeah.
Was it back-to-back games? I think it was back-to-back games, but he scored twice anyway. He scored in 2 different games. The pressers thing's really annoying people today, Tori. I don't know if you've noticed. Stop with the pressers, Sean. A presser is someone who works in laundry. All that means, Pete, is I'm going to keep saying it.
And someone also brought up B from Prisoner Cell Block H, for those of you who are Celtic. So B is an example of a presser, seemingly, for those who remember that. Tam Mack coming in saying, can he handle the Celtic chat? It's all positive. We're pretty glass half full in this programme, are we not, Sean?
I think so, I think we try to be, Tony.
Yeah, don't get carried away. We just try and call it as it is or as we see it, and quite a lot of people seem to agree and enjoy the chat.
David Ferguson saying one of those goals in the cup. Yep, aye, correct. Yep.
Yeah, indeed, it was. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, I think you've annoyed a couple of people, Sean. It's fair to say that, isn't it? With words like pressure and I think somebody said that they hated the word journal as well, wasn't it?
I don't use that. That's a slur. That's a slur.
I've never referred to myself as a journal. To be fair, but there you go. Other people can refer to it in whatever way are telling it they want. I've been called a lot worse than a journal. Let's put it that way. But yeah, I mean, all things being equal, Sean, you do see Celtic going there regardless of what personnel and selection quandaries and dilemmas the manager faces, but they've still got a strong enough squad to be able to take care of Ross County. A couple of people also saying in the chat that they would like to see Haksabanovic start.
Yeah.
Now, we're both Haksabanovic fans, aren't we?
We
but
are.
That might be at the detriment to your man, Dyson Maeda.
Aye, it could be. Aye, and I mean, when you think about it, I kind of almost view this game as another chance for the squad depth to really come to the fore, to kick into gear, because we've already went with can I say Taylor had a knock. If he doesn't make it, then it's I think it's an Achilles injury. Then it's Bernabe, fine. If Moy and Hatate don't make it, we've went through this. It could be O'Reilly and Turnbull, O'Reilly and Iwata. You could even play Haksabanovic as one of the midfield trio as well. Further forward, Abada and Maeda, because they both get sent home early, if they both don't make it, or if they're only fit enough for the bench, ultimately your front three could be Haksabanovic, Jota, and Kyogo. It's hardly like punishing. It's not a big drawback, is it?
No, you're not weakening the side in any shape or form, are you? Regardless of players that are absent through injury. That's the whole point, isn't it? You see it as a chance for the squad depth to shine again and other guys be given a platform and stage. But I think at this stage of the season, you are going to use all your players. You're going to have to, because the games are now coming thick and fast and they're important, and that's when you might pick up niggles and injuries, stuff like that.
Derek Crawford saying he would like to see Haksabanovic play in the 10. You've got a comment here, Kaiser, on the subject of calling you a journal, Tony. He says, Tony in the cream trench coat and the fedora looking for a scoop. You ever donned a fedora or a trench coat, Tony?
No. Neither. Not to my knowledge.
No.
I've got a black long coat, but I don't know if it's a trench coat. You would call it a trench coat. I'm not sure.
No fedora, though, no?
No, never a fedora, no. I think I would look more
like... What's your birthday sorted for this year, then?
I think I'd look more like Inspector Clouseau if I donned that kind of, like, on a fedora and things like that, you know, or Nougat a Clouseau, as people might refer to, but yeah, you know what I mean? So, but one of my comedic heroes, incidentally, Peter Sellers and Pink Panther, Inspector Clouseau, but that's another topic and chat for another day. Yeah, Haksha deserves a start after coming off the bench and scoring. Yeah, we've spoken very highly of Haksabanovic on this programme, and excuse me, we do want to see more of him on the park, but I'm sure the manager knows that there's more to come from Haksabanovic, because in there's a player bursting to come out. I firmly believe that, Sean.
Oh, definitely. And Kevin Mullen, on the subject of a player bursting to come out, he says he thinks O will play a big part on Sunday. Now, I don't know, did you mention it? I think we might have, but O scored a really, really good goal.
Yeah, we did.
It got ruled out for offside in the build-up, but take nothing away from the actual finish, because everybody was still playing to the whistle at that point. It was an absolute cracker, wasn't it?
It was a belter, yeah. Yeah, definitely.
And it was also, as you suggested, they might. Jurgen Klinsmann has taken to him right away, and he's already been commenting on him.
Yeah, I did mention that he's got the best of both worlds, being coached by Ange and also a goal scorer extraordinaire in the shape of Jurgen Klinsmann. and I think he would naturally gravitate towards a player like O and help him improve his game. And you listen to the words of a former World Cup winner, wouldn't you? Why would you not? So I think that's a boost for Celtic as well, that not only is Ange going to be talking to him, but he'll be learning off one of the best goal scorers in modern times. So I'm happy about that. Pete Wee G comes in and calls me shades of Malcolm Allison. Tony there, he's calling me Malcolm Allison. Again,
guys are still painting this picture, aren't they? The press card and the bando and the hat.
Do carry it in the wallet, to be fair, the press card, but that's a normal thing, isn't it? I would have thought.
Hazel Finn coming in saying she liked the comments from Jurgen Klinsmann about must have been music to your ears though, Tony, because you'd written it like a week and a half prior, or whatever it was, 2 weeks prior, that once he links up with the new South Korea coach, it could be to his benefit. So it's good to know that one that he get called up in the first available squad, but two, that Klinsmann felt moved enough by what he saw from him, what he's seen from him, to comment on him. I
just think that, you like to think you know a thing or six about football. People will dispute that, many will, but you try and think, and I'm always one for, I always say try and connect dots. And if you're calling, and if someone who's in the Korean national team and your manager is a forward, it's only natural, and I remember we spoke to Davis Keller-Dunn, and he told us about the wingers and stuff when Harry Kewell came in and the forwards, and he said, watch the difference. And those guys, when Harry Kewell talks to them about the 1-on-1 time and all that, and I think you've seen that. You can witness that, but that's evident this season with various players having purple patches. Jota, Maeda, Kyogo, Haksabanovic, Abada. So I think that's when these guys tell you these things about certain people, coaching members, or managers, that kind of thing, you tend to open your ears and listen and say, right, okay, I'll watch out for that. So that's something I was kind of mindful of when O went away in international duty, and as you say, he scored a brilliant goal, and you just thought, okay, not unfairly, but harshly ruled out for offside. But you're thinking, right, that's good. You can bring that kind of form to Celtic. And as Hazel said there, she's liking the comments from Klinsmann. Klinsmann did enthuse about him. So, I like all these things, and then Steve McGrory's just putting a comment there. There's a really good interview on YouTube.
I was ready to put that up. Yep, Graham Hunter. Hunter's big interview with him. Yep. There's good stuff on that. Harry Kewell comes across quite well on it. Whether it's talking about his coaching, talking about his playing career, talking about the difference between the you'll never walk alone at Anfield and Parkhead.
Yeah. And these guys have been there, seen it, and done it. I always say, when guys like that are talking, even Ange as well, when he's talking, you shut up, open them, and kind of you try and I'm all for educating myself in football matters, and listening to people and expanding my own knowledge. That's why it was great sometimes to sit in front of the likes of Brendan Rodgers. I'd have loved to have sat in front of Jock Stein. He'd probably kicked me out and did the Fergie thing and threw cups at me or something, or asked me why I was boring him with trivialities. But but these kind of things, you're in a privileged position sometimes, and I think you kind of sit there and you listen intently to try and expand your own football knowledge and see if you can bring some insight to it as well. There's nothing wrong with that.
Would that be pressers, Tony, that you're talking about?
Press conferences, Sean, yes. If it pleases the Alan Woods jury, yeah, indeed. But I've always done, and I've always said that if you can come away from a press conference, expanding your knowledge or having learned something, then it's all been worthwhile. Even in the questions that you ask and the answers that you receive, which is why I say you kind of do your homework if you're going to sit in front of somebody and, get them engaged if you can. It's just the way I work.
Speaking of engaged, Derek Crawford says earlier on, SENECA's helping Sean grow a beard. It's actually laziness that's helping me grow a beard. They've just not bothered shaving yet. But we'll need to do that with the weekend approaching, Tony. Celtic back in action, need to be ready.
Can I say you're going to drag a House of Fraser across your boat race?
I don't think. Surely, if they're not all right with Presser, they will not be all right with that sort of rhyming slang.
And have a Chaz and Dave at some point. They get away with that, Sean.
Alan Woods clapping you because you said press conference twice, Tony.
Yes, indeed, Sean.
Teacher's pet, come on, man.
Yes, the apple, the polished apple's here for you, Alan. No problem at all. I'll present that. There you go. But no, I think a lot of us have been a bit stir crazy during International Week, Sean. We're just buzzing at the fact that club football's returning, and I think we miss the daily fix, or not daily fix, the weekly fix of club football with Celtic, because we're just enjoying what we're seeing from the team, aren't we? And the very thought of players getting injured is always a sharpened to, oh no, and, because you're just so invested in this manager and this team, isn't it?
It ended up a bit of it's a weird international break. Obviously, Aidan mentioned the other day that he'd done the international roundup, but by the end of it, there wasn't all that much to round up. It wasn't a really busy international break because a few of them either didn't get a game when they went, or in Arsenal Josh's case was suspended for the first or two games and played in the second one. Beyond Callum McGregor, there was a lot of people getting sent home, that not playing. Callum McGregor, obviously being Callum McGregor, played as much as he could, including that long busting run right at the end of that Spain game. Where you see that, I don't know, was it Gavi or was it one of the Spain players anyway, went right in, trying to take him out of the game, and you'd a wee intake of breath at that point because it was right at the end of the game. But even that, rode that challenge well, even had time to plant both his feet before continuing his run. And then as Callum McGregor, I don't know about you, but I had no kind of hesitation, no doubts that he was going to be able to look up and pick a pass there, because he wasn't in the mode of, I'm going to take it in at the corner and just try and do a John McGinn or a Kenny Dalglish and use the rear end and all that to keep it in the corner. He could see Shankland was there, and Callum McGregor being Callum McGregor, as soon as he paused that wee split second, you knew he was going to pick the pass and you knew he was going to pick it well. Obviously, Shankland couldn't quite get it under control quick enough to he did get it on target, but to get a proper shot off. But nonetheless, I think that Callum McGregor run was just epitomised. He was in Ange mode, I think, when he was doing it.
I'll say in Shankland's defence, I don't think he actually thought that McGregor was going to play the pass.
That's because he doesn't play with McGregor week in, week out, I suppose,
right.
Isn't it? But,
yes. So, and I don't think they had the, for want of a better, you said Ange mode, the we never stop mentality. But in the 94th, 95th minute, whatever it was, when McGregor made that run, that he was still actively trying to score a goal. Mm-hmm. He just gets that from his club philosophy and club mentality. Shankland's maybe not on that wavelength, but he will get on that wavelength if he plays regular international football. Yeah, I mean, he did hurdle that challenge like an Olympian. It was, if the guy connects, he's putting him in the stand, isn't he?
Aye, and I think that's exactly what the intention was.
Yeah, but he was too quick.
Pete McGee
still in the 95th minute too quick.
Aye, Pete McGee saying how Callum McGregor could still go rampaging down that wing like that in the 95th minute just shows you what an amazing athlete he is. He's been defying it for years now, into the minutes played, the game time that he gets. But he had that injury earlier in the season. That's about the biggest. That's about the longest rest he'll get, and it's about the only way to get him to have a rest as well.
Aye, he'll not miss a game unless he's injured, basically. Aye. And he will play. He'll play the 90, won't he? Because I think he takes it as a personal slight if he doesn't play the 90. I mean, nobody's played more games than Callum McGregor in Scottish football, arguably in British football, the past few seasons. I'd like to see those kind of stats, but he'll certainly be up there, won't he?
I mean, I had a spreadsheet at the start of the season counting up every minute, not just because obviously the kind of inclination is just to count competitive minutes, and I know there's a different intensity, but ultimately he's still playing the friendlies, he's still playing all the pre-season stuff, all that kind of stuff, and international friendlies, and although there's not many of them now. And I remember I had the spreadsheet counting it all up. That was only at the start of this season, and he's played a lot of minutes this season, even with that injury. So there's no doubt in it. There's no doubt in how many minutes he puts on the clock.
Are we saying he's had a lot of game time? Sorry, Alan.
Exactly. Aye, exactly.
Those minutes on the park. Sorry, Alan.
I thought you were Alan's pal in all this. I thought it was me that was going to be winding him up saying all these things, and there you've just double-crossed him.
Indeed. It's that Friday feeling, Sean, getting into the weekend with club football returning. It's like games day on a Friday when you were at primary school, remember? You could bring in your games at the end of term, that kind of stuff. Care Plug, Connect 4, all that kind of stuff. Super Striker, as I used to bring in. But yeah,
very passive-aggressive from Alan Woods here. Cal Mack played all the game time for Scotland. Love it.
Keep it coming, Alan. We do love it. We love the interaction. We couldn't do it without you guys. You know that. Thanks for all your comments. Yeah, we do enjoy it, as you can see. We take our club and our thoughts on our club seriously, but we don't take ourselves that seriously.
I had highlighted this earlier on, Tony, when we kind of touched on when Celtic could win the league, and it was Derek Crawford just saying, what about the vast goal difference? And of course, you can kind of forget about that sometimes, that there is such a big difference in goals for and goals against, the goal difference, obviously. So it does count as almost an extra game in Celtic's favour. But even dismissing that, as I said, I had it kind of noted down in very layman's terms, good through week by week. But they're 9 ahead after 29 games, so 27 points still to play for, right?
Yeah.
Right, I've definitely got that one right. 9 times 3, 27.
Yeah.
If Celtic won each of their 4 games pre-split, right, it takes them to 94. Even if Rangers win them all, obviously, except for losing that one to Celtic, that takes them to 82. So that means going into the split, Celtic would be 12 ahead with 15 to play for. So the first post-split fixture, which is May 6th or 7th, which I believe is the same weekend as the King's Coronation, if you're into that kind of stuff. If it's against Rangers, it would be a bona fide title clincher.
Yes.
If it's not against Rangers, it virtually secures it anyway, because due to the goal difference that Derek's talking about, even if both win, Celtic would then be on 97 points, 12 ahead of Rangers, who'd be on 85, and there would only be 12 points left to play for anyway. So that means that match day 35, whoever they play in that game, would seal the deal. But that game would have already kind of clinched it at that point. It virtually would have sealed it. Now, I want to say it was maybe 2 weeks before the first post-split game that they published, the post-split fixtures last year, I think. Yes. Robert Gibson, Sean's good at some. Sean had the fingers and toes out when he was doing it.
Aidan's away back to primary school to learn the sums, I think.
Somebody said that. There is Aidan back at school today. Patrick McLaughlin says, if we beat them next week, it's over. I agree with you. I think it might very well be over anyway, to be honest, Tony, but you can't really say that with any certainty until the maths start to kind of look like that. Jerry Smith saying Coronation Weekend crowned as champions. I like that. But no, I think they published the post-split fixtures. I think it was, April, maybe the second week of April last year, and I think the first fixture was about the 20th, 23rd, so it was about two weeks before it or something. And it kind of depends on the composition of teams that are in the top 6 and bottom 6 when that gets locked in. But you'd imagine, well, maybe not with the authorities here, but you'd imagine they'll have the fixtures drawn up for all eventualities, Tony, so that it's just a case of when that's who's in the top 6 and that's who's in the bottom 6, these are the fixtures you use. But regardless of what happens, and I mentioned this in that piece that I wrote for the newsletter a couple of weeks ago about Celtic being in a title race, but not with Rangers. They've played, by the time the split takes effect, Celtic will have had 17 home games and 16 away games. So they'll likely be slated for 2 home fixtures and 3 away fixtures post-split. So it'll be 19 home, 19 away that they've had. Rangers are the opposite. They'll have had 16 home games, 17 away games. So they'll be due 3 home games post-split. But see, ultimately, everything that we've just said there and Derek's thing about the goal difference, it doesn't really matter that they're going to have an extra home game to me.
No, listen, it doesn't matter to me either, but what I will say is this kind of narrative of Celtic just having to turn up at Celtic Park and turn Rangers over. I'm not a lover of that. You have to earn the right to beat your rivals who realise they're drinking in the last chance saloon title-wise, and you'll be in the mother of all games come April the 8th. But first and foremost, you have to take care of Ross County and Dingwall, which is not always easy against a team who are fighting to stay in the Premiership. So you've got Sunday's game is of paramount importance because it's the next one, and you just get all 3 points and take it from there. And then the Rangers game will take care of itself. So it's over when it's over. I'm a firm believer in that. But you have to be clinical and professional and not let yourself get carried away with agendas or the fact that Rangers will have no fans in the ground and it's everyone expecting that kind of repeat of the February or August pummeling. You've got to earn the right to pummel them if that's the case and that's what you do. But you'll be up against a team who know the scenario if they lose. So you have to match that. I'm sure they will. And it's under Scotland's agreeing with that. But you be as clinical and professional as possible the manager says that he always wants his team to get stronger at this point in the campaign. Go and prove it, and go and prove why you're champions elect. Yeah, one game at a time, Seamus. That's why I'm saying Dingwall is of paramount importance to Celtic.
And that will be the message, as it has been from Ange Postecoglou since the get-go. And I said that in that piece that I'm referring to when I was saying they're not in a title race with Rangers, they're in a title race with history and the Invincibles and all of that. And it is one game at a time, and that is the way that they should be thinking on it. But the more that they keep ticking off those one game at a time, you'll end up they'll have broke records. They'll have potentially set a new world record. Now you don't want to go that far before it gets to the kind of the precipice of it, but it is a possibility. They are good enough to do it.
All these milestones will happen, Sean, if you say they keep ticking them off and knocking the Skittles down, but you have to knock them down as they're coming along. And first Skittle at the moment is Dingwall, Ross County, and look no further than that. Plus,
I'm going to put this up from Scotland the Brave, which is actually a really good shout. That he says, like, he would, or they say, I don't know if it's a guy or a girl, but he says, I don't want to clinch the league at Ibrox because there'll be no fans there, which is a great point. Because I suppose when you clinch it is when you clinch it, and rather than pick and choose when it was, as long as it's done, it's done. But I see what his point is. You would rather be able to clinch it with your own fans there.
Yeah, I'm always of the opinion that you want to clinch it, the earlier the better. Whenever that happens, so be it. But you have to knuckle down, get the job done in order to put yourself in that position to clinch it. Because, things can happen, but I just don't see this team losing 3 games between now and the end of the season, do you?
No.
Conceivable, of course it is, but I just don't see it happening. They're too good to let it slip now, to be perfectly honest. And the standards that the manager expects and drives them to, they are pretty relentless. And it doesn't matter to me if, where and when they clinch it. I just want them to knuckle down, be professional, and drag themselves over the line and get it done as quickly as possible.
Scotland the Brave comes back in and says, Tony, what does Ange need to do to beat Brendan Rodgers' points tally? Do you want me to take that one?
Go on then.
Because in that article,
I
might as well put the link to that article in because I've got it there. But in that, it was when there was still 10 games left. There's obviously only 9 now. And when it was 10 games, it was take 28 points out of the final 30 available, would see them beat the Invincibles UK League points record. But as I said in that article, if it was 9 wins, 9 wins and a draw would have been for that, and it's not out with the realms of possibility. But I said if they went one better and won all 10, which is now won all 9, then they would get to 109 points, which from a 38 game league season would beat Red Star Belgrade's world record, which is the world record I was kind of talking about. So does it matter? Probably not. People like me that like that kind of stats, it probably doesn't matter as long as by the end of the season that league trophy's in the cabinet, and ideally the Scottish Cup as well. But we're also talking about the league. But that is the standards that they're setting for themselves at this point. That's how consistently excellent they've been. That is what is on the agenda if they keep going at the rate that they're going, and that's not even taking into account the goals per game that they're scoring.
Yeah. And the thing about that, Sean, it's achievable, and your goalposts and ambitions move as you're going down the line. Now, if Celtic can win against Ross County and then win against Rangers, do you not think that is a personal target amongst the group will be spoken about? Can we do this? Can we get this world record points tally? I'm sure it will. Would it be the icing on the cake of a consistently excellent season? Of course it would. Does it matter? No, it doesn't. But I think as you go down the line, and if you do manage to reel off those wins, then it's something that will be a consideration to the players, because you always want to have something to play for right to the very end, and that can keep them going.
And I'll get ahead of the curve with this one, because I've no doubt that once Celtic are about to clinch the league and all that, it might crop up. But any sort of narrative that not only have Celtic been really good this season, but it's a poorer Rangers side or whatever, can I just point out that so far this season, this Rangers team have been currently averaging more points per game than Celtic did to win the league last season. So they're doing all right. They are having a good season, technically. It's just that Celtic are better. That's all it is. Yeah. So when that crops up in the next few weeks, just remember that part.
We will, and we do, which is why we flag it up
No.
on the morning briefing. People can say what they like. Celtic have been consistently excellent. I don't think anybody can deny that, can they? Well, there's 45 minutes, Sean. First half, second half, whatever you want to phrase it, of Celtic chat. Club football returns. We can't wait, can we? All roads lead to Dingwall on Sunday. Hopefully Celtic can at least maintain their 9-point lead at the top, Sean, or glass half full, maybe even extend it. You never know what can happen at the weekend.
Well, would you like to go first, or will I go first for predictions?
You can go first. I'll let you go first.
Well, as usual, when I'm looking into all these stats and Kenny was quick off the mark. Predictions, please, before we go. As usual, when I'm going through all the head-to-heads and the recent record and the opposition at home record and all that kind of stuff, usually I shout for a clean sheet. They've not kept a clean sheet in a wee while. So, against Ross County and Dingwall, I'm saying, I'm going to, or against Ross County in general, I'm going to say 3-1 Celtic. So, continue to score the goals, but a wee concession there as well. And Alan Woods, after everything today, Alan, we end in agreement. There we go.
And I was going to say 3-1, so I have to say something different, don't I? Yeah, I'll go with David Ferguson. 4-1.
Yeah.
11 a reef. One of the ones, isn't it? But there you go. 420 somewhere, 4-0. 3-1 Celtic, says Steve McGrory. Same with you, Sean. Blinds are back 2-0. Gave the last week. Peter Morrison 4-0. Blinds are back, say 3-0. Sorry. Peter Morrison 5-0. Yeah. Tam Max still laughing away. Tam, what you laughing at? Let us know before you go. 4-1 says Kirsty. Kirsty's with me. It's 4-1. There you go. But 3 points, no injuries. That'll do, says Michael Ross. Of course it will. Yeah, indeed. Hopefully Tam Mac will come in and tell him what he's laughing at. Maybe just the two of us, Sean, because it's been a bit of a frivolous one today. And amongst the
Alan Woods, good laugh today, guys. Enjoy the presser later. We've got him, Tony. We've got him.
Is that the presser that will be coming live from Parker's?
Discussing Tomoki Iwata's game time.
Yeah. MVP Tomoki Iwata. Never Parker's in its life.
No, that's the one thing I think we can all agree on. That part.
Celtic, Park, Paradise, or Parkhead. Pair many one from 3, to be fair. Never Parker's. Enjoyed that today, Sean. Very much so. Guys, I hope you enjoyed it as well. Result dependent, of course, of whether you have a good weekend or not. But here's hoping you have another good weekend, and we'll reconvene on Monday. Here's hoping it's a happy Monday, as they usually are. But I'll just urge you once again, if you enjoyed today, then why don't you subscribe to the Celtic Way website and support top quality football journalism covering the club you love. It'll cost you £2 for 2 months for unlimited access to everything that's written on the website. It's all for the click of a button. www.celticway.co.uk/subscribe. That's www.celticway.co.uk/subscribe. Have a brilliant weekend, guys. And we also say thank you to SENECA, who the Celtic Way morning briefing is now sponsored by SENECA Medical Group. SENECA are the #1 hair transplant company in Europe, and they offer innovative hair restoration treatments. And you can find out more about SENECA via the links in the description of this video. All that remains for me to say is excellent contribution, Sean. Enjoyed that. Great laugh. Thanks to everybody who contributed today. Your comments in the comment section as well. We always enjoy it. We have a good laugh too. Football's back, Sean. Dingwall it is. Sunday. He's hoping for another Celtic win, preserve their 9-point lead at the top of the Scottish Premiership table as we tick down to the end of the season. Take care, guys. Have a good one.
Cheers, Tony. Cheers, guys.